Welcome everyone to this Orienteering Australia webinar, learning more about Livelox. And it's a very warm welcome to everyone from Australia who have joined to learn more about Livelox because we've just created this subscription. But before we get going, I wanted to do an acknowledgement of country. So we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands where we conduct our sporting activities. And we extend this acknowledgement to all the traditional custodians of the lands and First Nations peoples throughout Australia, and would like to pay respects to all elders past and present. We recognise the outstanding contribution that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples make to society and sport in Australia, and celebrate the power of sport to promote reconciliation and reduce inequality. I'm coming to you from Melbourne, the land of the Wurundjeri people, and it's very rainy outside at the moment, but it's a welcome relief. So welcome again to everyone, and welcome to people that are viewing this online after we've presented this live. Hopefully this is a great introduction to Livelox, to looking basically at how to view courses, how to upload courses as well. We've just had the Australian 3 days competition held in Victoria over the long weekend, the Easter weekend. And so hopefully we can explore some of the amazing events and the amazing courses and the people that ran these courses to see how, as an example of how to do good orienteering, because we're going to be looking at the elites, but then also what Livelox can offer us and some of the insights that it can give us. I've decided to focus on M and W21E, so the elites, just so that they're the people that are knowing that they're signing up to the class that's, I guess, promoted in orienteering. I didn't want to throw anyone into a webinar like this that may be just in a casual course. So throughout this webinar, we're going to be looking at the 3 days of the Australian 3 days competition and the M and W, so men and women 21 elite courses. Bit of a background. We're starting this Livelox webinar because at the start of the year, Orienteering Australia signed up to a subscription. So that means that all the Australian events uploaded to Livelox are free to view. You can view events on Livelox for free, but any event that's uploaded around the world. But in Australia here, we have full access. And so we're going to explore some of these extra features that we can have in Australia. So those are the events that are free to access. But then we also have the availability for members to sign up for a free Livelox account as well. And we'll touch on how to sign up as we go along. So make the most of your Livelox experience here in Australia. I wanted to get going for a start, having a quick go at what it actually looks like. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Make sure I get the right one. Oh, I might actually change to the other tab. Sorry. We're looking at day 1. This one. Day 1. And we're going to be looking at Women's 21E for a start. This is a bit of a taste of what Livelox would look like. And so I've entered straight into this course. But if you would like to get into viewing this, we have a little red link on the Eventor event, and you can click it and it opens up. But let's have a look. As soon as this opens up, push play. And we can see that each competitor in this course that's uploaded their GPS route is represented by a little arrow. Their names are on the left-hand side of the screen, And a trail, which you can set, shows where they have been. So we can see some people have taken the right option, some people have taken the left option. And I've set this so that each competitor is starting at the same time. So I'm going to pause that there. There's a little button at the top here that says no automatic panning. It's great if you click on follow visible participants, and you'll see that as they move along the course, and I'll just push play again, the screen will actually start to move, so it keeps it right in the middle so you can see it without having to move the map around yourself. And then it zooms out again. I'm just going to take you back. We'll continue in a second, but let's just go back. By dragging this grey line, it can determine where you want to start viewing from. I'm going to zoom across and out a little bit so we can look at this leg from 1 to 2. It's quite fascinating to be able to see how different competitors took this leg. Some went to the right, some went to the bottom. And if we just quickly zoom across to the left, to the right to click on legs, where you'll be able to see that there's a variety of different legs that have been taken. Some to the top, some crisscrossed through the middle. And then Livelox gives great extra information as well. Time it takes for this leg, distance each person ran, and the pace. So I'm going to click, that's legs. I'm going to click back to replay on the top left. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so we can go to about 40 times the speed. Push play, and we're going to see what happens. You can see lots of routes. Michaela is in the lead at the moment in the orange. You can see the ones, the controls that seem to be a bit more tricky. The arrows start to squizzle around a little bit. So this was day 1 of our Australian 3 days competition. And you can see for the routes that were uploaded, Justine Hobbs was the first to finish, followed by Grace Crane and then Emily Svensson. I'm going to pause it there. Stop sharing. So that's a little bit of a taste of what Livelox looks like. But I'm going to go into a little bit more of the details now. First and foremost, if you want to get more of this information, we have a Livelox page on our Australian Orienteering website. I'll put a link into the chats in a second, but if you type in Livelox Orienteering Australia, you should be able to find it in the search that you use. And on there, we have 2 guides, one for viewing routes and one for uploading routes. Let's go and have a look at how to log in or sign up for the very first time. I will, give me 2 seconds. Sorry, guys. I'll just bring up the next bit of information. Here we go. So this is the Livelox webpage. It's got a bit of information about some key features, how to use Livelox, some links. And here are the 2 guides. We're going to be kind of following these tonight, but we're going to be using live examples as well. So the first one, viewing routes, as I showed before, as I mentioned, on the Eventor Australia page, when you have a look at the event calendar, events in the past that have Livelox have the little Livelox red arrow. To get into Livelox, click that, select that arrow, and then you'll be shown to the next page. It is a page that looks something like this. It has all the classes. So you click on replay on the chosen class that you would like. So I clicked on the Women's 21 Elite. Now, for the very first time that you log into Eventor and then go through to Livelox, you're going to be asked to create a username and password for Livelox. And this is the screen that comes up. For those people that don't have a Livelox account, choose the first option. It says, I want to create a Livelox username or password now. Alternatively, if you already have an account, go for the second one. It says, I already have a Livelox username and password that I want to use, and it asks you to put those bits of information in. There's one little bit of troubleshooting here. If you already have a Livelox account linked to Eventor set up on this browser and you're trying to set up someone else's account, it's going to get confused. So my advice is to use another browser. That way you can link your Eventor account to your Livelox account. Okay, so that's is that? Yep, no, that's fine. Stop sharing. So logging in and signing up for the first time is kind of straightforward if you follow those prompts and choose your own username and password. This allows you to then, as we're going to talk about in a short time, how to upload, allows you to upload routes into your account as well. Okay, I'm just going to pause a little bit of information there. We're going to look at a bit more in-depth viewing routes in a second, but does anyone have any questions? We might head on to having a look at another day one race, but this time it's going to be the Men 21 Elite. So I'm going to go through some of the options that we have on the screen. So the main 4 options that we're going to look at are across the top. There's replay, legs, duel, and table. If we have a look at replay for a start, which we looked at the beginning of this webinar, the main button that you want to use is the play pause button. On the left-hand side, you have all the participants. You can unclick the top little circle and you can select the certain participants that you would like to compare. If you want to see them all again, just click the button to select everyone. If you wanted to jump to another class within this window, you can click on the drop-down menu and choose whichever class you'd like. But I'm going to stay with M21E. Across the top here, we have more options. The slider determines how fast you would like the replay to be. This is a simulated mass start. If you'd like to see everyone start at the actual time they started, click individual start. Simulated mass start, everyone starting at the same time. Or the next 2 options are kind of interesting. This breaks up the course so that everyone restarts at each control. So you can see, I guess, who won each control. That's the button that looks like 2 arrows. The next one across I touched on, no automatic panning. So then you have to click on the screen and drag it around. Use your mouse to zoom in and out. Or as we clicked on before, follow visible participants. So that's everyone. It just automatically pans to that view. Or follow selected participant that you choose. going across right to the right-hand side, the little green tick says that we have access because of Orienteering Australia's subscription to all the features. The little question mark is a link to the guides that Livelox have. If you need any help, there's wonderful information on the Livelox website. There's a shortcut there. And the little image of an compass that orientates the map to north. Going on to the map screen, you can also zoom in and out by using the plus and minus signs. And there's a little hiding button on the right-hand side for extra settings that can go in and out. If you want to look at extra options, you can also click on the 3 bars on the side, and eventually we'll have a look at this by adding route for hand-drawn as well. So you've got a bit of an introduction to the settings on this initial screen. Let's have a look at how this works when we're looking at M21 for this day one's race. So I can push play, and I'm going to pause it here because, great, again, similar to the women's course, the leg from control 1 to 2 is a very interesting leg, and you'll see that people took a range of different routes. Let's have a look. I've slowed it down to be 10 times the speed. So you can see they're coming out of the control. Some people have taken the right-hand option. Some people are going around to the left. And some people are going straight through the middle. I think the green was a scary point for quite a few competitors. But you will see the green arrow of Ryan Stokes down the bottom was the first one. He went straight through. He was the fastest. When we look at the legs option, we can break it down a little bit more, but this is a great overview to see the different routes that people took. Let's speed it up and have a look at the rest of the course. The little button at the top here that I didn't mention before, it says show virtual straight line routes. So when I turn this button on, it brings in the people who didn't upload their GPS tracking or didn't have tracking. And so you'll see the second one on the left-hand side, Julian Dent didn't have tracking, his route uploaded. And it becomes very prominent in this control that I want to zoom up on here, 11 and 12. This is kind of interesting. So you'll see the first competitor, Matt Doyle, is out in front. We've got Julian Dent. You'll notice that the blue line, because it's got the split times, will just track along the purple line to show whereabouts on average he was. Keep an eye out for Matt Doyle, Ewan Shingler, Pat Jaffe, and Julian Dent as we look at this route. So Matt Doyle didn't quite approach it. Julian Dent, I might slow that down. That was on 20 times. Let's go back just a little bit. So if we zoom up here, you can see the blue line of Julian Dent is following close behind you, and Shingler, Patrick Jaffe, Cullen White out the back. And Matt Doyle, we can see, stopped just before the control, started to hesitate, and Julian Dent found the control fast. Ewan Shingler out the bottom. Matt's again looking left to right. Pat Jaffe is around the bottom, Ewan Shingler. And so this looks like a very decisive control. With this tracking, it allows us to see what was the important part of each race. Let's continue to see the rest of the race. As you will notice, as we speed it up, Julian Dent is still in the front at this point, but with some fast legs, fast finishing. It's a race to try to catch up with him. Number 19 to 20 was also a decisive leg. If you hit that control accurately, it gave you a good chance to finish the rest of the race in a bit of a sprint. And so Matt ended up catching Julian and ended up coming in the lead there. And then everyone else comes in. I'm going to pause that one there. That's the options that we have when we're reviewing courses through the replay option. It's fascinating to see the tussle that happens between the competitors. I'm just wondering if anyone has any questions about that replay option before we go to have a look at day 2 and the legs feature.
I have a question.
Oh, fan. Yes. Thanks, Lawrence. Go for it.
Whenever I click on that compass thing on the right top corner to make it stop spinning, it refuses to do that for longer than 2 seconds, and then it's back to spinning. Does that work for you properly, that button? To make it oriented to the north the whole time?
Yes. Yes, I can. I'm not sure, to be honest. I know what you're talking about because I have had that issue before. Just looking at other options. Maybe
I wonder if I'm supposed to put it in a combination with another button, and if I'm doing it wrong, maybe. But
yes, I can't see any other options. I know what you're talking about because I know that it has been kept spinning around for me as well. Maybe it's this replay version versus the legs feature, but maybe someone else on the call has an answer.
We should be so lucky.
If you do have knowledge about that, feel free to put that into the chat too.
I'm glad it's not just me anyway.
Yes. Thank you. Let's go across and have a look at the second day of the Australian 3 days. And we're going to be looking at the Women's 21E class again. And as you can see on the top, I've clicked on legs. And I particularly wanted to show you control 22 to 23. Now, this is almost, as you can see, distance from start, 10 kilometers into the race. And this leg was 1 kilometer long, basically. I found this leg by dragging the slider to control 22, 23. If you wanted to have a look at the whole map and everyone's route, you can click on the very first option. But let's have a look at control 22 to 23. Again, a lot of the same features, options are around the screen. But this time, as I mentioned at the start, we've got some extra information given to us for the competitors compared to what we have on the replay feature. And so if you, on the left-hand side, we can see that Miliki was the fastest on this control, followed by Michaela Cooper. If we have a look at the options, if I zoom up a little bit more, most competitors took the right-hand option. There's a few roads, tracks that they can follow. 2 competitors went on the left side. The colours of the routes show the speed that they were taken. So there's a little indicator on the top right. It's about, what's that, 7 minutes a kilometre, I believe. It's green. Oh, no, sorry, it took about 7 minutes for this leg if you're to get a green coloured leg. And then you would be up to about 8 minutes 30, getting closer to 9 minutes for this leg. And then you'd be given the red colour, orange in the middle. And so you can see if you hover over the different lines, it tells you information at the bottom of who it was and what time it took them, how long they took longer than the fastest person as well. So that's hovering over the different routes. On the left-hand side, let's have a look. Miller Key, I've sorted it according to time. That comes up, but you can also arrange it according to distance and pace by clicking the name at the top. Let's have a look at time for a start. Miller Key took 6 minutes 56, so she was the fastest to this control. Her distance was 1.251 kilometers with a pace of 5 minutes 33. She's got a fast pace, so she's going quickly. You'll see that the first two had quite short routes, almost similar. But Michaela, as I hover over her name, she took a slightly different route for the second half. She continued on the bigger track to the right, whereas Miller took off through the middle on a smaller track. But it was about the same distance. You can see Michaela's pace was slightly slower than Miller's, so that's probably why Miller ended up having the faster time. Grace is also going fast. She's got a quicker pace time than Michaela, but she ended up going over 100 meters longer. So maybe that's why her time is longer for the whole leg. Interestingly, Michaela and Zoe have the same pace at 6 minutes 11, but there's almost 100 meters difference. So therefore, Zoe took longer. Down the bottom, Justine Hobson, she's done quite a good race overall, particularly in the weekend. And she was going quite fast. Look at the pace. She's under 6 minutes. She headed out far left to get onto the road. But because her distance was almost 500 meters longer, it caused her to have a lot longer time, 3 minutes 30 longer than Miller. So with the breakdown of all this information that Livelox gives us, we can work out what was the right route. And maybe it's dependent on your skilled level, if you're a faster runner, navigator, but it gives us a general idea which is the safer, the quicker route to take, and by how much, according to how fast someone's running, how long they're taking, and then we work out the overall time. So this is the main feature for the legs option. Does anybody have any questions about that? We're going to go on to the next option across the top, the next feature, and this one's called Duel. It's a new one that Livelox have just brought in, and so we're going to head to day 3 of the Australian 3 days competition, and we've gone for, this is kind of like a middle distance style event, course that was set for, we're looking at M21 this time, but they had this really long leg going from control 12 to 13. It was 1.7 kilometers long, and I've chosen this time 2 participants, Matt Doyle and Angus Hain, to compare. So the duel is like putting 2 competitors side by side, breaking down the leg and working out which part of the leg each competitor was faster on. The trick to understanding this is there's one competitor that is the main chosen competitor. So at this point, this is participant Matt Doyle. He's been given the green and red color. And then if you wanted to change that, you click the drop-down menu and you can choose somebody else. And then you need to choose somebody else on the bottom half to compare the first competitor to. So participant to compare with, you can choose the next person. Let's go with Angus Haines, because this is quite telling. We know that these two were fighting it out in this competition. I believe Matt made a mistake in the first or second control was a bit tricky. And so then Angus got in front of him. But their final results were about 30 seconds between each other. And if we have a look at this event, this leg, I think this was the deciding leg. So we can see overall that Matt Doyle took 7 minutes 33 for this leg. Angus Hayne took 8 minutes 22. The interesting point within this race is that at the start of this leg, so at control 12, they were tying for 7th position. They were both at 13 minutes and 52 seconds at control 12. Dead heat. It was like a race to see who could smash out this control, nail it, to see who would then go on and be the champion between the two of these. So let's have a look. Let's break it down. I'm going to zoom in. They started quite similarly. They took off, and you can see Matt's in the red this time. So that means that he's plus 1 second. That means that he's taken 1 second longer than Angus to do this first section. And then Livelox has broken it up into the second part of the leg, which was, they came a bit closer together. Matt was 3 seconds longer. So at this point, Angus was 4 seconds ahead. When they reached the track, we can see that the grey line, so that's Angus, took a left, Matt took a right. At this point, Livelox has said this is a critical point of the of this leg. 20 seconds is the difference from the left-hand side that Angus took to the right-hand side that Matt took. We can see that Matt was faster because he was minus 20 seconds on Angus's time. They came back together on the next section. Matt was 1 second faster. They took off cross-country, only 2 seconds within it. They were running almost exactly the same route through the flattish section, 2 seconds within it. Angus was 2 seconds faster. Then as they're coming into the control, another deciding moment in this race, we can see Matt took a left option to get into the control. Angus took a right option. As they're coming in, they were neck and neck when it got to about the location of the control, but we can see the grey line of Angus overshot the control, hit the track, had to turn around and come back into the control, which shows us which was a 36-second mistake. So at this point, in this part of the leg, Matt gained an extra 36 seconds on Angus. If we go and have a look at sneak at the table at the end, you'll see Matt Doyle took 44 minutes 17 seconds, whereas Angus took 44 minutes and 24 seconds. So it was actually 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds apart from them. And so therefore, I've chosen this leg as that deciding leg, which lost it for Angus, basically. I said that they were equal at control 12. By the end of this leg, at control 13, they were both 7th equal. Matt, let me have a look here. Matt went to 2nd. So they were both 7th. Because Matt did a great leg, he ended up coming 2nd overall at this point of the race. But then Angus dropped down from being 7th equal down to 10th on this leg. So this great execution from Matt meant that he ended up, what did he come? 3rd overall by the end of the race. So that's the one leg. Again, very similar to the legs feature. You can drag the slider to have a look at a comparison for any leg of this race. And then there's the usual features around the outside. If we go, just one extra thing that you can add to this feature is on the very far top left side, it says custom leg. You can click on that button, and with the left click and drag, you can choose, oh, I missed it. You can choose how much of the leg you want to just look at, and it breaks up. Try that again. Let me try. It splits the leg up so that, come on. There we go. So if you only want to look at a certain section of a leg, you can cut it and do a more thorough dissect. This time it's comparing Matt Doyle and Ethan Pink. Usually it chooses two competitors that are quite interesting to look at. So you can trim a leg to look at it more up close. Are there any questions about the Duel feature of Livelox? I'll stop sharing and see if there's any other questions in the chat. Feel free to write a question at any time. We're going to move on to tables. We're going to quickly look at this one. We're going to continue looking at this day 3 race for M21E. I've already shown you a little bit of the table feature. We looked at Matt Doyle and Angus Haynes, and there's the overall time. Most of us have probably looked at these tables before when we've looked at splits through Orienteering. But in Livelox, this is where it gets interesting. The top left button, you can click on times. That's what we usually look at. The top line for each participant, for each competitor, is the time it took for each control. The line underneath is the overall time. And then if you scroll all the way across, you'll be able to see the final time that the competitor took. And it continues each individual control's time on the top half. We're used to this one. This is just the times for overall and this route, each control. But if you want to look at other options, because it's based on GPS tracking, we can look at route lengths. This one tells us how far each competitor ran for each individual control. That's the top line. And their overall distance that they have run for the bottom half of their line. If we have a look, going down a little bit. Where was it? 9.5 kilometers. Who's this? Ryan Stocks took. And number 2, a little bit further, right down the bottom here. This is Torren Arthur. He took 9.6 kilometers. He was ranked second for the total length that he took for his course. So he did quite well at keeping on close to that purple line. If we go back up to the top, I think, what was it? We were looking at Matt Doyle and Angus Haynes earlier. You can see Matt Doyle took 9.6 kilometers, whereas Angus took 9.9. So there's an extra 300 meters that Angus took there. So maybe that added to a few extra seconds. So you can break down what was happening in the course according to how far people ran. The third option is route pace. And this can be interesting to see, to gain insights, particularly if you're a coach looking at how your competitor's fitness is going. Like, for example, let's have a look here at Angus Haynes. We can see at the end of the race, his pace ended up being ranked first, and then it goes all the way through. Match wasn't too bad as well, but it shows me that he's got a great level of fitness, that he was able to keep up a strong pace all the way through to the end. To compare who was coming first at the start, if we go down to here to Toby Wilson, he was having a great pace. He was leading the pace at all the way up to control, I think it was about control 12, and then his pace dropped off, and he was ranked third, fourth, all the way down to being ranked about 8th and 9th. So maybe we can see from this that Toby doesn't have as much fitness to continue that pace all the way through the whole course. So that gives us indication of the pace of the competitor, and then some more detailed information is given to us about pace between controls and the route length compared to the straight line. So it's a bit more of a detailed information for the second and third options there. Just one interesting thing I wanted to pull up. I've gone back to the times. Patrick Jaffe, he was in the lead for a start, and then he dropped back a little bit. He picked up the lead again halfway through the race, dropped back, and then by the end, he picked up the lead again for the third time and ended up being the fastest competitor. So very interesting race, this one. I think that would be a good one to go and have a look at the replay function to see the lead change. This is it about viewing the Livelox different options, viewing the routes. I'm just wondering if anyone has any questions about viewing those routes with the 4 different options that we have at the top of the screen. Just a reminder as well that if you want to have a look at this information, we've got some clear slides on the Livelox webpage on the Orienteering Australia website that go through those different features that I've just explained, and there's got illustrations there. It also has the links to the help guides that Livelox has on their website. So we're going to go on to uploading routes now. I'm going to bring up this PowerPoint slide. Arpad, is that PowerPoint's able to be seen?
Very well.
That's fantastic. This is the PowerPoint that we've put together to make it a bit easier to know how to upload routes. Now, on the Livelox website, there's a lot more information and detailed instructions, but this is a simple overview just to put you in the right direction. So first of all, as we explained at the start, log into Orienteering. This way, you'll be able to connect to your Livelox account with your Orienteering account. The very first time you log in, you'll be able to choose how you want to connect. So you need to register. Once you've done that, you can select the Livelox arrow on the row of the event that you have participated in that you want to upload your route in. Now, instead of clicking on the replay button to go view all the routes, this time you're going to do the next option across to the right, the add route button. There's a few different ways that you can upload your route. Now, depending on how you recorded it as well. So we're going to go through a few different ways that you can upload. The first one is on a smartphone. You could download the Livelox app. This means that you can record a route directly with this app, and then it will connect to your event and your class when you are at the start recording, and then by the end it will upload straight away to Livelox. But that means that you have to take your phone around with you. If you're doing Park and Street, maybe that's an effective way to do it. But in the bush, there are other options that you can use as well. Let's have a look at those. One way is manually uploading your route. Now, Strava has been disconnected from automatic uploads in Livelox due to rules about sharing information. And so if you've got a Strava and you record your routes via Strava, you're going to have to do it manually. But if you're using a different method as well and you create a GPX or another type of file, then these are the three options that you would click on. So after selecting the Add Route button, you will be presented with this screen, and you can choose to upload a file, upload a link if it's a web address that you've got, or you could fetch your route from your Strava account. So that's a manual upload. Another way that you can upload your route is automatically. So this screen again, instead of clicking one of the three black boxes, there's this blue section that says you can set up an automatic transfer. There's a link there. If you select it, it'll take you to the next screen. And this is to create an automatic synchronization of the application that you have. Maybe it's on your phone or your watch or whatever you're using to record your GPS track. When you select that option, that in the blue hint box, the tip box, you will be directed to your user account. It'll give you your information, but then particularly in the right-hand side, connections to route providing applications is where you'll want to find what you're using. Garmin, Polar, different options there. You can select your application and then follow the prompts to connect to yours. The great thing about this is that it has that automatic synchronization, so that once you've finished your race, it will automatically link from your watch, your phone, through to Livelox, through to Orienteering, and it will just automatically be uploaded. There's slightly different ways it happens, so follow the prompts. And again, if you need more information, Livelox help guides are very, very helpful. The last way that you can upload your route, if you don't have a GPS tracker, is by manually hand drawing your route onto the website. So just like the screen we were looking at, if you click on those three lines on the far top right, I mentioned it earlier, there's an Add Route option. So once you select the Add Route, it will give you a pop-up box where you can enter in details of whether it's yourself that you want to add your route for or another participant, and then choose Draw Route by Hand. It'll open up the next screen, which allows you to add waypoints. And so you click along your route, adding waypoints all the way through to try to make it as accurate as possible where you believe you went. There's a, you can see the top arrow pointing to different options. So there's a undo button, redo button. You can save, you can cancel it as you're going. And then if you need more information about how to go about drawing your route, click on the further instructions at the bottom. And that's quite helpful, actually. I've mentioned a few times in this webinar, going to the Livelox website. Here's how to get there on the how to get to the help. On the Livelox website, you can click on help. For uploading routes, click for athletes. For viewing routes, click on for spectators. And I found the record and upload routes button a very useful tool to have when you're trying to start connecting to a different app that you have. But there's also the other options that you have there. Okay. That comes to the end of the information I have to present to you. I'm just going to go over a few key points. On the Australian Orienteering Australia website, we have these guides available for you and links. Eventor is the way to get into your Livelox account. So go to the event that you want to look at, choose that Livelox button. And if you want any more information with lots more details, as well as videos, please go to the Livelox account as well. I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have any questions?
Daniel, it's Arpad here. I may have been paying attention, maybe less at the beginning, but didn't you say that you were going to talk about how to upload an event, how to grab the map, export it from OCAD, put it into Livelox, and do those admin type of things that basically make this whole thing happen, all this magic work?
I don't have that prepared. Sorry, Arpad.
Okay, then I was wrong about that assumption. But is anyone here who's looking to get that kind of knowledge? Are we going to do a second round? Raise your hands. If Shane Jenkins was here, not David Jenkins, then we could get that insight as well. And if there's anyone here who knows how to do that better than I do, because I don't, then now's the time to step up and grab the screen even. Or, like I said before, we could come back with a second tutorial on, because we have now a national coordinator, and that person is Mr.
Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis, thank you. He is our go-to person, and most of the events around Australia are being managed, uploaded, and created by him, or New South Wales. It's Shane Jenkins most of the time, and we are encouraging everyone in this call, or if you know anyone who would be interested in becoming a state coordinator, because we cannot have one person or two across the country uploading these events. It's not that magical, not that hard, but it's important that you follow the descriptions, and it's Livelox has that description as well. But I think 1 hour for today should be enough. What do you think, Daniel? And then we may come back with a second round to specifically directed to organizing events and creating that Livelox background.
Yeah, I agree that we have particularly focused on, for participants on this site for this webinar, how to view and upload your tracks. But I think that's a wonderful idea just to flag it as well, Arpad. So this is the Livelox website. And if you go to the help button, I'm hovering over it. We've looked at information for athletes. We've also looked at information for spectators. So basically it's for uploading, for viewing. The next one, and I think it's a brilliant idea to do another webinar to talk about how to upload the courses, upload the maps. So that's all the information for event organizers. And if I open up that option, it gives you detailed information about how to create an event, how to upload the courses, how to upload the results, and then some extra info there. So if you are after that type of information, it's the good info is on the Livelox website. Let's book it in though. Let's explore that next time, Arpad.
Fantastic.
Yes. I want to thank everyone again for joining tonight. Hopefully you've had a good overview of what Livelox can offer. I hope that I've been able to get a bit deeper into viewing some of these courses, to pull out some of the, I guess, the technical things, how you can use Livelox, but then also being able to give an overview for yourself. overview for those that you coach or your teammates to be able to make your orienteering better, because this is ultimately why Orienteering Australia has wanted to subscribe to Livelox, to make us better orienteers, to make orienteering more enjoyable. And the more that we can get out of Livelox, I think we'll be able to satisfy both of those. So enjoy Livelox, but particularly enjoy going out there and doing the orienteering as well. Thank you everyone for joining us, and hopefully you join us again for when we talk about event organisers, how to use Livelox. Thank you everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.